Welcome to Divorce 911. I'm your host today, Steve Parker, and I am joined today with Wendy Hayes of Mitchell Hayes, a certified divorce financial analyst, and Joanne Donner of Donner Mediation and Coaching. And we see our clients always worried and concerned about their budget. So we say, you need a budget, and they go, yeah, right. Sure, I wished I could put a budget together. So the topic there, of course, with budget, it's an important topic for anybody, regardless of a divorce. But now that your income has been cut in half and your expenses have now doubled, the budget conversation seems to be more and more overpowering. And how does somebody start to put together pieces for a budget?
So I have them gather all of their financial documents, everything that they can think of that relates to their income and their expenses, their assets, their debts, everything. And then I help them to understand what what I call their marital balance sheet is going to look like. And then I also help them to come up with a budget based on what their incomes are, what child support they may be receiving or paying, what alimony they may be receiving or paying, any other types of income that they have from rental property or from stock options or investments or what have you. Help them understand all of those things, and then we have to get very real about the expenses, and that is usually quite a process, especially when things have to be adjusted to support two households. So we work through that process, and then I provide them with what that budget is going to look like, both at the time that they go through their divorce and then 20 years into the future, so that it empowers them to make the right decisions and going forward.
Right. Joanne, you are so good at your organization skills and painting a great financial future for some folks. All about building a budget from there, right?
Well, it's an interesting topic, and I agree with both your comments, Wendy, and what you were saying, Steve. And what I find as both a mediator and a divorce coach is that the topic of budgeting is one of the most overlooked aspects of preparing for the process. And ironically, it is perhaps the most important topic that people need to be focusing on. And this is why I say that. In order to achieve a successful outcome in divorce, you have to know what you want, and very importantly, you have to know what you need. And until you know what your post-divorce budget is, you need to understand what your current budget is, what it is costing you to run your household today, but very importantly, you need to know what it's going to cost you to survive post-divorce. And that number is informative for you as you're making decisions and as you're negotiating. If you need X amount of dollars every month to survive, your negotiations need to center around that reality. When people hear the word budget, it's like limitations on what you can spend, and that may be one aspect of budgeting. But the more important aspect of budgeting for divorce purposes is, what do I need? It's a source of information as you move forward.
As a very real life example of that from a slightly different perspective, I've been working with a client that has not finalized her divorce yet, but she has not been working full time for a number of years. So she is ready to embark back into the full-time workforce, and she called me in a panic in advance of going to an interview and said, how much money do I need to be making? And then the question was also, do I need to go and get a quote-unquote real job, or can I follow my passion and do more of a charitable type thing? So to have that knowledge and to understand what she was going to need in the future was critical for her.
It is probably the key, or one of the most important keys, as far as pieces of information you need to negotiate intelligently.
It absolutely
Very
is.
critical.
I also look at budgeting, because I'm a finance person, a little bit differently. I look at it as a key to freedom,
Wow.
financial freedom,
Nice.
instead of a limiting negative thing. To me, it's a positive thing, and it's a little bit of a game to come up on the plus side of things instead
Right.
of the negative.
Plus side is a good side to
That's
be on.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, I see so much of the lens and the perspective that I see, unfortunately, too many of my clients going through, and again, their income's been cut in half, and their expenses have now doubled, and they don't want their lifestyle to change, right? Me being in the real estate side of things, is I wish I had have known, or I thought I could, and you know, so some bit of a reset button, which we didn't have much, conversation. You're building a plan, that's fine, getting a budget, but do I need this and this and this and that type of thing? The need part, you talked about that. I think that's great. Do I need this size home, right? Do I need this car?
Well, many times
all these things.
people get divorced for emotional reasons. And the truth is, they haven't stepped back, and I see this frequently as a divorce coach, they haven't stepped back and really examined the realities they're going to face.
That's right.
Where am I
That's
going
right.
to live? How much money do I need to earn, as you were saying,
That's
Wendy?
right.
What about health care? They may have been on their spouse's health care plan for 25 years and not given any thought to it at all. So when you're making a decision to get divorced, obviously the emotional side of that is huge, but you also need to step back and do some real life research and look into, what is it going to cost me to do this? Am I going to be able to make this a comfortable reality for myself?
That's exactly right, and I often find myself being the voice of reality.
Exactly.
When I show my clients, how long can you stay, can you afford to stay in that marital home? Maybe you're going to exit the marriage and have child support for a number of years, or alimony for a number of years. But when that stops, your
Right.
budget's going to take a nosedive again. And so you have to be prepared and thinking in it ahead to know, I can stay in the house maybe for a few more years, but then maybe I need to make other arrangements, and start to look at how do I want to stay married to my home, or do I want
Right.
to support my lifestyle in a smaller, more affordable home?
And you raised an important point, and that is, no one can think of everything.
That's right.
No one, even a divorce professional, is an expert in everything. And that is why at Divorce 911 we talk about getting a team together, because different professionals with different areas of expertise can present a perspective to a divorcing individual that they haven't thought of before. And that's what we're here for.
That's right.
You don't have to go through this process alone. And it's not advisable to go through this process alone. It is too complex.
Right.
And there's too many things to think of.
Love it. That's exactly what our mission is. Thank you, Joanne. We would love to just come alongside of you, build this village and this team, and more and more of us, so that we have a complete holistic approach to treat the entire problem.
Right.
Okay. So many of our clients, it's just attorney and I'll figure out the rest. Well, we have career coaches. That budget might do very well by you getting expertise on how to interview, build a better resume, go get a different
Right.
job. Then you're talking about, maybe I can build a budget from here, right? Get a plan. Wendy Hayes of Mitchell Hayes, look them up. Dr. Joanne Donner of Donner Mediation and Coaching. Love to have you reach out to her. Divorce 911, questions, comments down below are always welcome. Thank you, ladies, for coming in today. Had a
Thank
great
you.
topic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to talking to y'all soon. Take care.